Hi, and welcome to HowDoWeHuman, the podcast where we overanalyze all the weird and uncomfortable micro moments in life. I'm Evan Cox.
And I'm Chris Binning.
Today we're going to be talking about the general anxiety bomb that is job interviews. But first, hey Chris, how you doing?
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm doing okay. I am quite exhausted. My work shift has changed. I used to be 2 to 10:30, all, p.m.
Okay.
Now I am 6 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. And it has thrown my entire body out of whack. So I am tired all of the time now.
Yeah. So what's your sleep schedule like now?
Well, I just naturally seem to stay awake for too long. So I go to bed around, I would say 10, maybe 10:30 at the latest. And then I wake up at 4:45.
Ugh.
Hop in the shower. I've pre-packed my lunch for the day, so I don't have to do that in the morning.
Smart.
But yeah, and then I leave the apartment at about 5:15 to get to work by 6.
That is terrible.
It is terrible.
I'm so sorry.
And a lot of the people that work in the earlier morning shift, because I didn't pick this shift, I got bumped by other people with more seniority. Yeah, but a lot of the people that work in the morning are the people that have been there like 20, 25 years.
Yeah, that's tough to argue with.
Yeah.
You've been there a year?
Yes.
It's a start.
Yeah. But so also, I am someone who is also like 20 years younger than everybody else that works in the morning shift.
It's a lot of pull that comes with age.
Yeah. But one of the guys who is in his late 60s, maybe early 70s even, he used to play with Sammy Davis Jr., to give you a bit of age reference. I don't know how old Sammy Davis Jr. was at the time they played together.
Holy crap.
But that is something that happened. But he was looking at something on his phone, like some meme or something or whatever. And this GIF comes up and he shows one of the other guys who's about his same age and was like, what show was this character from? I remember the character, but I can't remember the show. And the way he turned the phone, he showed me what it was too. Yeah. And he was like, don't worry about it. Like, you're too young for this. But I was like, oh, that's Muttley from Hanna-Barbera's Wacky Races. And they were blown away. I schooled all those people. They said they weren't, and I quote, going to underestimate me again. For whatever reason, I
learned that a long time ago, not to underestimate you.
Yeah, I got a wide cartoon knowledge, and that's really is what gains me respect in my day-to-day life.
That's a thing, like growing up closer to when we were respectively growing up, there was a lot of older shows on. It's not like because I wasn't around in the 40s, I haven't seen certain shows. Like that was an absurd amount of my childhood was watching like I Love Lucy.
Yeah, and I was like super into animation as a kid, and so I had like the full books of like the Hanna-Barbera history and then the cool Warner Brothers animation history. So I know a lot of those characters that even the people that used to watch them don't remember.
Yeah.
But Evan, how you doing?
Oh, that's such a nice question. I'm doing pretty good. Feeling good. I feel good today, Chris.
Oh, all right.
Even though it just took me like 45 minutes to get this recording set up. Audition needed an update. Other than that, I'm feeling pretty dang good right now.
All right.
I got a glass of water.
Yeah. Refreshing.
Like a waterfall. I'm going to tell you a little story about just a good example of my stupid anxieties and overthinking. things.
I am
which
all ears.
feels germane to the podcast. Is that a word?
It's a word. I don't know if you used it correctly.
You be the judge. I'm gonna reference that every episode. Be the judge, jury, and executioner. So I have a very loud voice, and it's probably gonna get loud, but I'm trying to keep my voice a little bit lower because this is a story involving people at this apartment complex.
Uh-oh. Thin walls.
Watch out. Very thin walls. So I was doing laundry the other day, and I live in a smaller apartment complex. There are maybe 15 or 20 units here, so we only have one washer and one dryer. And I go in there, and I'm going to wash my clothes. Someone else is already washing there, so I'm like, oh shoot, I'll just put my stuff to the side. I go back in later, and their load has finished, but they haven't moved it. Always an uncomfortable position to be in,
absolutely.
But I needed to get my clothes clean, so I said, okay, I'm gonna move their clothes to the top of the dryer. Then when they show up, they can throw it in the dryer and get moving.
Okay.
Is that a dick move? It's a thin line.
It is a thin line. Do you have to put quarters in both machines?
Yes.
Okay. It's not a dick move.
Well, strap in. Shit gets weird. Or maybe it just does to me. So after my load's done, or after I've timed it out and assumed like, okay, my clothes should be done by now, I go to move my laundry, and there are people in there, and they're talking to each other, and it's a small little room, and I felt so like I just immediately turned around. I'm like, I'm not gonna go in there and talk to people. I don't know why that scares me so much.
I don't know, but saying that story, I would have done the exact same thing.
I went back 2 or 3 different times, and they were still in there, and I turned around every time. Even though I kind of knew in the back of my head, this is probably the person who's moving their clothes to the dryer and the person who's trying to start a new load, and my clothes are in the way. Mm-hmm. But I was also like, oh, I moved this person's clothes. I don't want them to be mad at me and tell me that I'm a terrible person. So I wait. Time goes by, and I go back. No one's in there. I'm like, great. Now I'll just move my clothes really quick. And not only had someone moved my clothes to the dryer, they put their own quarters in and started a load.
Oh, okay.
Which was information I didn't know what to do with.
Yeah.
It was so kind, but also like my mind always goes like, is this passive aggressive? Is this mean? Is everyone mad at me? So I was like, obviously I'm not gonna just force someone else to pay for my laundry, as nice as that was. And so I wrote a little note and put my quarters in a little baggie and just propped it up on the dryer and was just like, thanks for moving my laundry for me. Here's a refund, blah, 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 something dumb like that.
Okay.
And I went back to check out of curiosity.
Yeah, like, has Santa eaten the cookies?
Has Santa eaten the cookies? And this is like, oh, I overthink this so much. The quarters were taken.
Uh-huh.
The note and the baggie were left behind.
Oh, mysterious. That's weird that they were left behind.
Like, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, I mean, that's a totally whatever thing that the other person in this situation is not thinking about it nearly as much as I am.
Sure, but like put the notes in the bag in like the trash or something.
Sure, that's what I did with it.
Right. Yeah.
Or frame it or analyze the handwriting, figure out who in the building it was.
Yes.
And send me a thank you note.
Yeah, right.
And some quarters. But yeah, so realistically, probably and absolutely just like a natural thing that you do. You just go like, oh, that's super nice. Great, I get the quarters back. But in my mind, I'm like, what happened there?
I do understand the like, oh, was this passive aggressive?
That's how I live too much of my life. Was that passive aggressive?
Well, because it's like, are they telling you like, hey, next time you're in this situation, just put them in the dryer and put the quarters in and then start that load so that the whole cycle of people doing laundry can continue. Okay, sir?
My interpretation of it is quarters accepted, thank you, not accepted. I take your quarters and leave your nice note behind.
Uh-huh, okay.
Thanks for paying me back, but fuck you.
Okay. Yeah, I would not have interpreted that way. I would have interpreted, oh, somebody else took these quarters and now the person who was going to be thanked did not receive that refund.
That's a whole new world of anxieties.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to track that person down or just give everyone quarters.
Give everyone in the building quarters.
I'll be that guy.
Yeah.
It's like being that guy that like buys drinks for everyone in the bar, except significantly cheaper.
Right, yeah.
Here's a dryer load for all of you.
Dryer loads all around.
Like realistically, that collectively would cost me like a little over $20. But like, how awesome would it be if someone came to your apartment? And was
honestly,
just
it'd be pretty great.
Here's four to six quarters to do a load of laundry. Like, damn. I want to be that person.
Yeah.
I'm not going to, though.
No. It's somehow, even though it's, as we have discussed, about $20 probably, somehow it just feels like an excessive amount of work. And would everyone truly appreciate it as much as we would? Would they be like, okay, thanks?
They would take the quarters, leave the note. Are you about ready to move into our main topic?
I am so ready to move into this main topic.
Hey,
Let's talk about jobs, baby.
Let's do
stories from you and me.
Ooh, I like it. Let's talk about jobs, baby. Let's talk about I already fucked it up.
Let's talk about jobs.
You're better at this than I am.
It's literally just replacing one word in the song.
You're a professional song parodist. Parodiist? Parodist?
They call me Weird Al Chris.
I don't think you replaced the right word that time. Job interviews are stressful.
I think that they're stressful for sure.
I've done a lot of them in my life, and at the same time, not had a crazy amount of jobs. So.
Yeah, same. I think that that's probably a common ratio.
Yeah, I mean, you can't hire everyone, but you like to think you're a good candidate for the job. But I have a lot of this, particularly back in my hometown when I was a teenager. Like trying to get that first job is at least for me, was such a difficult time. Do you have a lot of experience applying for jobs you are wildly unqualified for?
No. I typically will read a job description and be like, oh, I'm not qualified for this. I won't even try. There are a couple, I guess there are probably some like different writing jobs that I've applied for and then been either underqualified or been qualified but just not submitted the proper materials, because when you apply for a writing job you have to do like writing samples on top of your resume, on top of your cover letter, on top of references, so that would maybe be the only example I can think of where
You just sent in a headshot.
Yeah, I was like, doesn't this guy look like a writer to you?
Does this look like a writer on Brooklyn Nine-Nine to you?
And they were like, yes, but no proof.
And for the record, you said that and I said definitely. I meant that as in I've done that before too, not definitely. You're underqualified
Definitely you're underqualified for writing jobs.
I'm not that much of a jerk. Just a little bit of a jerk. Yeah, most of my unqualified, like I said, most of my unqualified job interview situations were like getting that first job. And growing up in Grace Harbor County, which is a harbor town. I don't know if you've ever been to a harbor area. But it's the particular area where I grew up is a wood area. The town next to me supplies like all of the doors for all of the West Coast, pretty much. So there are several plants. There are wood mills and like lumber yards and lumberjack sort of arenas, and then there's the actual
lumberjack arenas.
It's a phrase I didn't mean to say.
They fight each other.
But now that I've said it, I want to see it. And then there's the Simpson door mill, which I believe closed and is now someone else. But either way, they make all the doors. So trying to get that first job, all of the jobs in the area were very much manual labor jobs.
Okay.
Which I'm not a particularly in shape guy right now. But
you used to be ripped.
I used to be so much less in shape.
Oh.
My average was maybe 135, 140 pounds and 6'1", which is a very, very rail thin person.
Yes.
And every single one of those job applications asks, can you lift 50 pounds? And obviously I couldn't, but you can't apply and just say like, nope.
No, I can't do that.
So I got myself in a lot of job interview positions where I had to lie my way in by saying like, yes. And granted, 50 pounds is not like a crazy thing to lift, but I probably couldn't do it now either.
Right.
Especially all day over and over again as a manual labor job. So I ended up getting in a lot of positions of lying on an application, getting my foot in the door, and then having them look at me and immediately go, oh no, you are never going to work here, but still having to do the job interview process.
Well, I mean, so many job interviews are just lies.
Completely.
I mean, not only like on your resume or on the application or whatever, but like when you get in there and they're like, why do you want to work here? It's like, because I need money.
It's the unspoken answer that is true for everybody.
100% of job applicants are applying for jobs to get money.
Yes. That's why we're doing this. Why is that ever a question?
I don't understand that question.
And I like all of those sorts of questions where it's like, nowadays you can just look online and go like, what is the correct answer to this question? And there's a billion articles saying like, oh, the correct thing to say is X, Y, and Z. But is anybody like I've now at this point in my career, I've been in a couple of like interview sessions where I've interviewed potential employees or helped interview. And so I've been on the other end of the table. Does anyone actually want those, even though it's the right answer, it's what they're looking for? Does anyone hear, like, I want to work here because the corporate culture really lines up with my sensibilities? It's like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
But that's the right answer, and it's like a code. You have to know the correct code and punch the numbers, and then they're like, okay, right this way. Now you go to the second interview, where we actually ask you normal questions.
Yeah, it is weird. A lot of first interviews seem to be just nonsense questions.
I'll jump in again as someone who's been on the other end of job interviews. There's a reason for that. And oh man, that first round of interviews, you get a lot of interesting people.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yes, significantly more underqualified than even young Evan at a wood mill. At this point, I feel like I've gotten pretty good at job interviews. And I think a part of that is realizing that it's kind of like
80% confidence.
It's 80% confidence. I
just
actually
like making friends or dancing in public.
Yes, it's
I think that's what we're going to learn every single topip is that it's 80% confidence.
When you start a podcast about like kind of being introverted and why are things hard, the answer is
80% confidence.
We just tore the legs out from under this thing.
Oh no, episode 3, we cracked it.
But no, it's yeah, I mean, qualifications are important, but I've found that just being able to go into a room and be a normal human being and have like a nice, even fun conversation is a positive, especially when you're interviewing with people who would be working with you. They're almost as much as they are looking for specific qualifications. They're looking for like, are you okay to be around? Am I going to be sick of you? Can we sit in a room or an office together and get something done without hating each other?
Yeah, the job that I have now, when I interviewed for it, I had been looking for other jobs, and so I had been on a couple job interviews, and they were always just so uncomfortable. But when I got out of this job interview, I was like, I feel pretty good about this. They seemed to enjoy talking to me, and I seemed to enjoy talking to them. And lo and behold, I got that job.
They also thought you seemed to be interested in talking to them.
Yes. And then after I got hired, I showed my true colors. And I am a nightmare.
Yeah, you and I both started new jobs pretty quick with it. So I think we were both on the job market around the same time.
Yeah.
Ooh, it was a rough time, man.
Yes, it was. Oh, my God.
There were some rough interviews for me. Sounds like there were some rough interviews for you.
Yeah. I got a lot of, though, just sending out, and I don't know how much this played in for you as well, but most of my job hunting experience was firing off a bunch of applications and never hearing anything.
Absolutely. Is this your second job since you've lived in LA?
We'll call it second. We'll say second job that I have pay stubs for. Let's put it that way. Because
God, what were you making money doing?
No. I had a job reviewing movies, and I would get paid like through PayPal, basically.
Right.
I just quit that job a couple weeks ago.
Look at you.
Yes.
How you feel?
Feel great.
How you doing? We've reverted.
I did have that in my notes for how you doing. I was like, we don't need to talk about it.
We're getting
but it came up organically.
It did come up organically, and I think relevant.
Yes.
We've done it.
The interview for that job was so bizarre too, because it was the guy who runs the channel or the site. He lives in like Minnesota or something like that. So I have never met him.
That's tough.
I have no idea what he looks like. He asked to have a phone call with me at, like 1 p.m. But because he's in Minnesota, he was going by his own local time and not by my time. And we just had a bizarre like phone conversation where he was going on and on. It was mostly him just telling me what his site was and barely asking me any questions.
Yeah, it does the trick, I guess.
I guess. I mean, I got the job.
It's weird that similarly, LA's one of the top 3 biggest cities in the U.S. I think it's the second largest next to New York.
New York, yeah.
And so, so many people live here, but I've had 2 jobs since I've lived here, and both the corporate offices were in New York.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, so it's a busy, very populated city, and we've both had only 2 jobs in the 4-ish years that we've lived here.
Yeah, it's so, and this leads to another question I have, but so much, and this is to a certain degree everywhere, but particularly in LA, it is who you know.
Absolutely.
Oh my God. It's impossible to get a job without knowing people.
Well, and especially in the industry that you and I are
dancing around.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
In the entertainment and creative industries, it is a lot of who do you know? Even for the PA job where they yell at you all day.
Yeah.
You got to know somebody in order to be yelled at for 12 hours.
And it should be even just for a PA job, it probably needs to be a higher up person.
Yeah.
Can't just know I know a writer's
I know
assistant.
another PA.
Not gonna help. Have you had the experience, positive or negative, and obviously because this will involve people that you know, you don't have to go into too much detail, but have you done job interviews where you were strictly straight up using a friend as a reference?
No. I don't think so. There was one after I graduated college, because I graduated a year early.
Wow.
That's what taking college credit in high school will do for you. But anyways,
it's very straightforward advice.
Yeah. I mean, I took the same number of credits, just took them early. But my roommate was going to have one more year to go. Mm-hmm. And the summer before, he had worked on the campus doing like different maintenance things.
Oh, sure.
And then they like pay for his lodging on the campus and stuff like that. So after graduation, I had no idea I didn't have a job lined up or anything.
Right.
So I thought, well, maybe I'll just stick around on campus and just do the maintenance stuff there because I like the town surrounding the campus. Yeah. So maybe I'll just hang out here a couple more months and then figure something out. And so he helped me apply for that, but they were like, no, it's for people who are going to be enrolled. Mm-hmm. You can't do it having graduated. So that was as close as I got to using like a friend or reference as a job, but that was it. What about you?
Yeah. Definitely one semi-recently, like, appreciated the help so much. Had a friend help me out and get me an interview, and man, I bombed that one. I felt so much more responsible for it, knowing that there was a friend of mine on the other end who was going to hear.
Yeah, who was going to be asked, like, really?
And really, when I say I bombed it, I mean, like, it was kind of a like, I felt like the interview was going great because, like I said, I've gotten pretty good at it, and I was just like, hey, I'm happy to get an interview. And it went really well, and then ended in the person interviewing me just saying, like, straight up, like, okay, like, as if they'd already knew this and were telling me, like, we just talked to you because your friend said we should talk to you. You're clearly a little underqualified for this, but if you want to apply again for a lower job that comes around sometime, we would love to have you. And I was like, oh, man. I did not ace that one.
I had a job interview for the Disney store.
Ooh.
And it was...
Which Disney store?
It was...
In Disneyland?
No.
Oh,
it was
man.
in the Chandler Fashion Mall in Arizona.
It's my second favorite Arizona fashion mall.
The interview style was they pair you up with another person interviewing for the job. Yeah.
Just one person?
Just one other person.
I definitely want to talk about group interviews later, but I don't know that I've ever had that happen.
Yeah, one interviewer and two interviewees.
Ew.
Yeah. Well, because it pits you against each other.
Yeah.
And I knew they were going to ask, well, I didn't know, but I had a pretty good feeling that they were going to ask, what Disney character do you most identify with? Because that's something that when you look at like typical interview questions, that's one of the things that comes up, Disney store or not, is like, is there a character you would describe yourself as or you really relate to?
Can I guess who your Disney character was?
Sure, go ahead and guess.
Did you have one?
I did.
I'm going to guess Donald Duck.
That is I do feel like I relate to Donald Duck. I didn't say that, though.
You are not wearing pants right now and just wearing a sailor suit on the upper half. So
yeah,
you led me.
And that's what I wore to the interview. So maybe they expected that answer. So when I finally revealed my character, they were really thrown.
You overthought this.
But the person that I was interviewing with answered first.
Ooh, gross.
And she went Princess Fiona, which is a character from the Shrek franchise, which is a franchise that is DreamWorks and not Disney.
What a fool.
So I thought, I have this in the bag. But I also didn't want to give some answer like, oh, I relate to Mickey Mouse, or even the genie, because the genie would be something that I feel like a lot of people would use.
You've been the genie.
I've been there, done that. So I don't need to say I relate to the genie, because I am the genie.
I live the Bachelor.
But the thing is, instead, I decided, okay, I'll take my favorite movie.
Yes.
Disney movie, which is The Lion King.
Deal.
And I told them that the characters that I related to the most were the hyenas in The Lion King, because I love to laugh.
Did you say that because you love to laugh?
Because I love to laugh
That's
is
awesome.
what I said.
That's so great.
But then I felt like, ooh, that's kind of a controversial answer, because the hyenas eat their superior alive at the end of the movie. So I was like, I gotta get out ahead of this. So I said,
a bold choice to just pick someone on the villain's side.
yeah, it was a bold choice.
But it's a choice I respect.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I think I told them, like, you know, and I know they eat Scar at the end of that movie.
You mentioned it.
Yeah, I did. Because I was in full panic mode. I was like, because the look on the woman's face after, because I was planning on just saying, because I love to laugh. But the look on her face was like, excuse me?
I know they eat their superiors, but that's not me.
That's not me. Unless you really wrong me, like Scar really wronged those hyenas. So I didn't get that job.
Okay, I get that. But I love your strategy, and
Thanks.
I understand your panic.
Yeah. It was I just wanted to give a different answer, and I certainly did. I don't think very many people say, I really relate to Shanzi, Bonsai, and Ed from The Lion King.
I'm impressed you know their names.
Hey, we've talked about it. I've got a wide cartoon character encyclopedia brain.
You know the stuff. Yeah, it's tough. That's a very thin line between, because you like I was saying earlier, you kind of don't feel like you want to give that answer that everybody hears. I'm Belle because I like to read. But yeah, it's that thin line between, is this an original answer that's like, hey, that's cute and memorable, and leaning towards cannibalism.
Yeah, it's a fine line between cute and cannibalism.
You know what? Maybe it's not, now that I say it out loud.
Well, the other thing that's tough about the one, and this is probably true in group interviews too, but the idea that if you're not the first person to answer,
Yeah.
you're kind of like, oh, well, I mean, they kind of said my answer of like, oh, no, I really want to work here because blah, 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 or really big or good qualities for me are also the same good qualities that this person just said.
That's a nightmare, yeah. That would stress me out so much.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, you can't. Even if they gave the perfect answer, and it was not only the perfect answer they were looking for, but the perfect answer to you.
Yeah.
You didn't have to come off like you were lying. It was
Right.
something you could say genuinely from your heart. A tear would roll down your face.
Yes.
But it's the exact same thing that other person said. You can't say that. It's out.
Yeah.
Have you had much or any experience with group interviews?
The only group interview I've had is in college. I interviewed to be an RA, and they...
Room attendant?
I think it's room advisor or resident advisor.
I think
it's resident advisor. You can see why I didn't get it.
You can see that I didn't go to college.
But yeah, I had interviewed for that, and the second round of interviews was a group interview.
Gross.
Yeah, it was gross. We had to do, because you're competing against each other, but you also have to seem like you can work together, because in one dorm building, all of the different RAs are going to have to work together and communicate together. So you're simultaneously working as a team while also competing against each other, which is a very difficult line to walk.
I'm going to argue it's an impossible line. It can't be done, and they shouldn't ask you to do it. Gah.
We did have to do a skit at one point of showing the values or whatever. I don't know what it was.
Like you had to write a skit together?
Yeah. And all I really remember was that I played a football player, and I broke the fourth wall to acknowledge how ridiculous it was that I was playing a football player. And I mean, they got a laugh in the room.
You're milking those laughs.
Yeah, that's really what I was there for. I was like, I got to stand out in this one particular way.
Did you end up getting put on that team?
Nope.
Oh, man, but you got a laugh.
I got the laugh. And at the end of the day, isn't that what really matters? It's not the money or the things that look good on your resume. It's getting a laugh in the room.
It's sadly true for me.
But you've had group interview stuff.
Yeah. I've really only had a few group interviews. One of them was pretty normal. One of them is the most insane interview process I've ever been through. Which
Let's only talk about the normal one.
Okay.
I don't think anyone's interested in the most insane experience.
Everyone was about equally qualified, and we all did well, and we were competitive. And
all right,
one person got the job.
Let's move into plugs.
Yeah, I'll just tell the crazy one. Back in Seattle, when I was living there, I forget at what point this was, but it was a period where I was just like, I want to say it was a case of like, I'm leaving this job on this date and need to figure something out fast. There was a timeline on it, and it was a long period of interviewing and not getting interviews and not getting jobs, obviously. And this one came my way, and it just seemed like, one of those like, hey, this is too good to be true sort of situation.
Oh, okay, yeah.
AKA a job interview I found via Craigslist.
Oh, yes.
Gotta do it. It actually ended up, it was a real job, but so I'll have to walk you through it so you can be in my headspace.
Got it.
So Craigslist posting, I respond to it. It was for a video editing position, which is something I do.
Great.
I was like, hey, qualified. I responded to it. I got a response back. I got an email back saying, we would love to have you in. We looked over your resume, and you look like just the candidate we're wanting to talk to. Can you come in on this date? Heads up, it's not formal wear, not like an evening.
Put on your best tux and come on down.
But above business attire, basically wear a suit was the qualification. I'm like, oh, all right. I know, and that's a whole nother. We gotta talk about what you wear to a job interview.
Sure. I don't recommend sailor's outfit with no pants. I learned it the hard way, and I'm trying to save all of you.
I'll take your advice. So they wanted me to wear a suit. These are the only things. Wear a suit, bring your resume, and send us a link to your demo reel.
Okay.
A demo reel a demo reel is weird when you're an editor because a reel is edited together, but it's hard to show the difference between this is a thing I edited merged together with a bunch of other things I edited. I didn't necessarily shoot all of this, but that's not what you're looking for, but it's edited editing together.
Right. Well, and I've similarly I've been asked to link to a demo reel for projects that I've written.
Yeah.
It's like you're not really going to see what it was like when I wrote it. It's either going to be way better or way worse.
That is interesting. I don't want to get too far off topic, but that is interesting to think. Because, that to me, when you started saying that, I'm like, that's pretty, people want to see the finished product. But, wouldn't it make more sense to just want the script?
Yeah.
Because now you're, even if, sometimes, what the fuck do I know? But once it's out, there's the influence of the director and the actors on it. Maybe it worked out, maybe it didn't. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anywho, I go to this job interview. It is in the tallest building in Seattle.
The Space Needle?
Nowhere near. The Space Needle is so small.
Is it really?
It really is. It is nowhere near the tallest building in Seattle, which is weird. You would think it is, but in the skyline, pretty small little thing.
Huh.
Columbia Tower, I believe is the name of it. And I'm like, oh, damn, this is big business. Okay, meet in the lobby. I go into the lobby. I've got my little folder with my resume, and I've sent in my demo reel. And the lobby is filled with maybe 50 other people in suits with a folder and their resume.
All of you sound exactly like the person we're looking for.
Yeah, just immediately the second you walk in, I'm just like, oh, no, you didn't even look at my resume at all. You just invited everyone that responded to that here. Oh, awesome. And now group interview time. So they took us up in shifts. There were probably, like, that's not an exaggerated number, probably roughly 50 people all lined up to do these group job interviews. And they brought us up. So my group was probably 20 people in it.
That seems like a lot of people for one group.
God, it was big. All 50 of us cram, or all 50 of us, all 20 of us cram into an elevator. They take us up to, oh God, like the 40th floor, just something outrageous where you're like, oh man, okay, we're going up. And again, at this point, I don't know what this job is even for yet. I just know it's an editing job and they wanted me to wear a suit. It turns out it's a job to be a video editor for a hedge fund billionaire.
What?
Works out of Columbia Tower in Seattle. I forget his name. I probably don't need to name names. But genuinely, like, I looked into him. It's not a scam. It is not a real thing. It is a real thing. This guy is a hedge fund billionaire, and he's looking for someone to edit video for him. And
of what?
To this day, I do not know. Something. I guess he had video projects. I mean, when you're a billionaire, you've got capital to spare.
Sure.
Make some videos. So I snap into the headspace of, like, you know, you try to self-talk yourself up. Like, yes, I should be here. Of course I can be a video editor for a hedge fund billionaire. And so the guy walks in. All of us are shepherded into this meeting room, and there's very serious guy with a clipboard and a suit on, and he's like, the hedge fund billionaire will be entering soon.
Yeah.
And the guy walks in, he's wearing, like, sweatpants, he's drinking a Frappuccino, just wearing sunglasses indoors, just like...
The trumpets play.
Yeah.
Now presenting!
Just as laid back a person as could be, and he just like in an 80s movie just kicks his feet up on the table. Is like, all right, hey guys, I'm looking for an editor. Like, we're gonna go just like tell me a little bit about yourself. Like, it's just might as well have just said, like, hey, I don't care, man, like, it's all cool, just whatever you got, man, you're all hired. Like, so we go one by one and we have to pitch ourselves, which is awful and terrifying and a thing I don't do well. I'm much better at like a job interview face to face, like, let's have a conversation, than I am my name's Evan Cox, I'm a video editor, I've done this and this and this. So I listened to... I was late in it. I was probably number 16 or so, I want to say. So, like, 15 other people have gone ahead of me and already pitched. All of us are so redundant because we all do the same job. And, it's, you know, like you were saying, you don't want to give the same answer, but it's like we literally all have to.
My name's Evan and I like to party.
Hey, that would have been something. I relate to the hyenas. In The Lion King.
You'll notice I'm wearing a sailor suit and no pants.
Honestly, this guy might have respected the move. Might have done the trick. So it gets to me. I say, I'm Evan Cox. At the time, whatever year this was probably 7 or 8 years ago, and like to a certain degree it still is, but in video editing, Final Cut Pro was king. This is pre-Final Cut X, when everything got a little different and a lot of people jumped ship. I'm a Adobe Premiere editor at this point, but at the time, Final Cut 7 was still a thing, and that's one of the best editing softwares out there. So everyone was using Final Cut Pro 7. I had experience also on Avid Media Composer, which is a different one that a lot of professionals use, and I was like, hey, everyone here is just saying they use Final Cut Pro. I'm going to let them know I use both because I am serious, dedicated to my craft. I know both softwares. I am the king. Hire me. Instead,
I was ready to hire you up until the very end when you declared yourself the king.
I said, my name is Evan Cox. I do video editing over here. I do video editing over here. I went to school here and learned Final Cut Pro. I'm also fluent in Avid Media Composer. I also, like an 80s movie, essentially got laughed out of the room. Nobody saw it as a positive.
Oh.
Someone made a joke about it.
Oh my God.
Everyone laughed at the joke.
Oh, that's so uncomfortable.
And I felt like an asshole. And that was pretty much where my pitch ended. So the last note of my pitch about myself was like, and there's this great thing about me. And 20 people thought it was hilarious.
Oh, that's so awkward.
And insulting to Avid Media Composer, a fine editing program. So everyone finishes their pitches. Laid back guy, literally, I don't remember what he said, but it might as well have just been, you guys are all great. Like, oh man, I wish I could hire all of you. Like,
yeah, and the other 30 people in the lobby.
I remember this. He stood up to walk out and like puts his sunglasses back on and goes like, I gotta run out and grab something to eat really quick. My guy over here is gonna like take care of you guys. I'll be back in a minute and we're gonna check out all of your demo reels, which was a panic-inducing moment because after listening to everyone else talk, I realized like, oh man, my demo reel is awful. I was terrified and realized, like, I had assumed, again, even through all of this and realizing they hadn't looked at my resume, I had assumed they had looked at my demo reel and realized they hadn't. And my demo reel did not look good. And we were going to this hedge fund billionaire's theater.
Oh my God.
To screen one by one all of our demo reels. And I was like,
yes.
Fuck. Like, I made the music for my demo reel and in GarageBand. It was
my God.
like out of samples. It was questionable. It ended up getting me a job later. But
as horrifying as this sounds, if I were a hedge fund billionaire, this is 100% how I would run a hiring process.
Right?
Just screw with everybody. Post it on Craigslist so I get a bunch of weirdos.
Listen to all the weirdos.
Yeah. And then just bring them all in and just have it as like a like gladiator arena where the yays or the nays of the crowd decide if you continue.
Oh man. So I started panicking about showing my demo reel in a theater in front of everyone and getting laughed at again. My demo reel edited together on Avid Media Composer. They all would have known. The second this guy leaves, and is like, you guys are all great. I'm just going to step out for a sec. I'll be right back and we'll get back to it. We'll check out all your demo reels, man. Oh, I'll see you guys later. The second, like, he's not even to the elevator. The second he's out that glass door, serious guy with the clipboard walks back in and goes, okay, if I don't read your name off of this list, you can leave. Lists off 10 people. The rest of us left. I was not on that list. And I had to make a sad exit with a bunch of other people in suits in an elevator. And all I could do was laugh. Like, it was such an outrageous experience across the board. I'm like, it doesn't even hurt. This was just funny.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice that you didn't have to then watch all the demo reels, I guess.
Oh, man. I didn't need that.
Did you feel a sense of relief that only 10 people advanced and not 19?
Yeah. That would have been a really slow way to tell me. All right, if your name's not on this list, name's off everyone but me. It's like, oh, me? Oh, other detail I completely forgot to mention. I forgot this happened. When we were all pitching ourselves, we got through 3 people who said, I'm this person, I've been an editor for this long, I went to this school, and blah, 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 blah. After the third person, somebody who was like maybe 8th or 9th in line just like steps out and goes, I don't think I'm right for this job. I'm going to leave. And he just did. And he left.
Oh my God.
And everyone just stared at each other like...
That's so great. Oh.
And in my mind, I'm kind of thinking like, good on you. I should have done the same thing. But that was pre me being laughed at. I could have left.
That's incredible.
It was such a bold move, and I was so proud of it.
Oh my God. Do you think he was a plant? Do you think he was like...
Oh my God, just one more level of fun for this hedge fund billionaire is just like a non-lethal jigsaw.
Yeah, right.
Fucking with video editors.
Yeah. I'm getting a lot of great ideas for when I become super rich.
I'm excited for you to be super rich. Let's get you there.
Let's do it.
Let's start a Patreon.
Have you ever been in a job interview where they try to like test your practical skills in the interview?
Yes, that's also a nightmare.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I had a job where it was right before I got the job that I have now, where I was looking for different jobs, and it was at this captioning place. And it was up in like Santa Clarita. So yeah, so I drive like the 30 minutes or whatever up to this studio, and I get there and it's like a Wednesday afternoon at like, I don't know, 2:30, and I think there's like one employee in this whole office.
Oh jeez.
And he doesn't really even ask me too many questions. He asks me a couple, but he's like, "Hey, we're gonna test like how good you are at closed captioning."
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah. So he puts me in this little booth with just a microphone and some headphones, and he's like, "All right,
2 turntables."
Yeah. He was like, "All right, the instructions are here on the computer screen in front of you. There's a practice clip and then like a real clip.
Okay.
So what you end up doing, and I would have assumed that closed captioning, you like type out what you are hearing.
Yeah.
Instead, what you do is you hear the thing and then you say it into the microphone and you try to keep the pace.
What?
And then the program that you're like, that the microphone is hooked up to will transcribe what you're saying. Now, I don't fully understand why they can't just transcribe the audio from whatever clip is playing. I don't know why they need me, the middleman.
That's odd. Yeah, even if it couldn't, like, you couldn't just drag a file in, they could just play it into the microphone you were using.
Yes. But what they did was there's the practice clip, and it was like President Obama giving some speech.
Yeah.
And for the most part, I could keep up with it because President Obama has like a very specific cadence, and it's a little slower, and there are pauses in between some of the words. So I could keep up, no problem. I was tempted to do an impression of him while I did it, but I refrained. But then it's like, okay, now that you have a feel for what closed captioning is, go ahead and play the real clip and just see how you do. If you like lose your place, just kind of wait until you can regain it. Don't try and like catch or go back, because that's going to create a snowball effect. Just get what you can. If you happen to lose your place, just pick up right when you can.
It's nothing scarier than being told, like, if you do this one thing, it'll create a snowball effect.
And so I'm like, okay, well, I've got a decent handle on this now.
Yeah.
So I play this next clip, and it's not President Obama giving a speech. It's a full put together audio package with a million different people being interviewed and a voiceover narration. It's like a full on documentary clip.
Wow.
On Jeff Bezos was the topic. But it's like, tonight on NBC, Jeff Bezos, I created Amazon, and it was all these different things. He's a millionaire. And it's like these million different people like overlaying the audio on top of each other, and I sucked so bad. I was like, I'm a Jeff Bezos.
So they wanted you're saying it while it's playing?
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
That's a fucking nightmare.
Yeah. And so the clip ends, and so I walk out of the booth, and I'm like, and he's like, "Are you done?" It's like, "Yep." It's like, "All right, we'll be in contact." Okay. And then I did not get that job.
So were they listening while you were doing it, or you just went private? You just got to go privately in a booth. I
got to go privately in the booth.
Full-on panic attack.
Yeah, and then they
walk out being like, "Yep, I'm done."
Yes, I have completed the task you have given me.
It's just how I liked it.
And then then I left.
Oof, that's horrifying.
Yeah, it was real awkward.
That's funny because, like, why? I know I've done like not captioning like that, but some like transcribing stuff, and while typing, not speaking it out. And yeah, the whole idea is like you play a little bit and you can type, but then you can stop it and catch up and go back. I can't.
Yeah, it was really bizarre.
That's hysterical, and I'm sorry you had to go through that.
So weird. Since we both are dancing around the creative entertainment industries,
gotta dance
around them. Oh, you haven't danced around the entertainment and creative industries? You must. But since we do that, do you ever find yourself in like the job interview scenario and it's revealed that they're not going to pay you? It's just going to be good exposure.
I've been fortunate enough to not experience that as much because I nipped the freelance energy in the bud pretty early and have been doing kind of corporate creative work for a long time.
Okay.
But now I'm familiar with it, and having not experienced it, I find it all the more insulting and fascinating. And you?
I have not taken a job for the exposure, but I've been in the scenarios of like, yeah, you can write these things and it'll be good exposure. You can put it on your resume, put it in your reel. No thanks. I can't pay my rent with exposure.
No. Yeah, it's tough when you can't. There's no, like, if you don't know who the people are or they've never made anything before, you can't vet, like,
right.
Well, is this going to be good? Like,
yeah.
If you're like, okay, marked applause, you want to give me some exposure? Fuck yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I'll take a vacation day at work. I will come do something for you. And hey, that's neat, but like, exposure on its own is nothing.
Right.
I don't want people like, oh, hundreds of people saw this. It's not very good. Yeah. But you're involved.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I guess going back to something we said we could talk about as well. Job interview attire.
Ooh, yes. Not just my suit. Because I've never liked, maybe a few times early on, I would do the full on like suit with a jacket. That just always feels like too much to me. I for a long time was just like a dress shirt with a tie. And since I've gotten, and maybe that's LA happening to me, I've gotten pretty casual in job interviews, which is maybe a little bit of this, maybe a little bit of that, but still, like, I think you could be casual and look nice.
For sure.
That's the wave I try to ride. How about you?
I'm usually shirt and tie.
Yeah.
Sometimes I put on the jacket just because I like to have the jacket on. Yeah.
We're a couple of guys who like dressing up.
We're a couple of guys who love to dress up.
Dress up.
Yeah. That's a phrase that, depending on which syllable you emphasize, seems to have a different meaning. What was your first job?
My first job I ever got?
Yes.
Ooh, I was a cook started as a dishwasher at a teriyaki restaurant in my hometown, and eventually was cooking burgers at a teriyaki restaurant in my hometown. And then I moved up and did some chicken, some fried rice. It was honestly, it was a great job. I loved working there.
Cool.
And yours?
Well, I had worked, this doesn't really count, but I had worked with my dad during the summers for a little bit so that I could have something on my resume.
Hell yeah. That's where you beat me out, and you didn't have to have the the interview process of 0 resume.
Yeah. Well, I had an in with the company. I knew somebody pretty high up.
You've got to know somebody.
But the first 2 jobs that I had like actually applied for and gotten, well, let's say I'm gonna go with the one because the other one was like a camp counselor, but it was for, it was through a company that I had gone through. So like it was through like a speech and debate. It was like a speech and debate summer camp where you were teaching middle school kids what high school speech and debate was like.
Oh,
and so I had gone through that. Yeah, and I had gone through that program, so I had again, I guess.
You had those qualifications.
Right. The first job that I got out of the blue was that same summer as the camp counselor job, where I would go to different supermarkets in the greater Phoenix area, set up a booth, do product demonstrations, and then try to sell you the product I had just demonstrated.
Fun?
No!
I took a shot in the dark. It might have been fun.
The paycheck that I got during training was a lot of fun. It was huge. Ooh. But they do it that way because the rest of your pay is 100% commission based.
Ooh.
So if you don't sell products in the grocery store, you're screwed.
Yikes. That's difficult.
Yeah.
I have fortunately never had to work for commission. But I know, I applied for a lot of jobs at like a stereo store. You got to sell stereos or you got to sell clothes to make your money.
Yeah.
I can't imagine like what sort of project or products were you?
It was a vegetable, or it was like a food slicer. So like the sort of washboard, and you like slice it across.
Mandolin?
Yeah. That is
the mandolin?
Yeah. And so it was like, it's a product that works.
Hey.
Like I have it.
Is that your sales pitch?
Yeah.
Hey guys, it's a product that works.
Listen, they want me to go through an entire 30-minute script, but I'm just going to tell you this is a product that works. That's all you need to know. No, it was so it was the food slicer, and the thing about it is because you're not like in a stereo store and working for the stereo store, you're like a third party contractor. Like this could be anybody working this booth.
Yeah.
Someone that I found a lot of shoppers don't want to buy from is an 18-year-old kid because that has scam artist written all over it. We would go through the same scripts, and like there were like 6 people that went through training with me, and it was like a bunch of moms and grandparents, and then me, the like 18-year-old fresh out of high school who just had really good public speaking skills.
Right.
But it wasn't about public speaking in that job. It was about convincing you like you need to buy this. There's a big difference between selling and public speaking.
Totally.
And I just didn't have the selling ability. I wasn't fired, but a couple months in, they were like, take a week off and think about if this is really for you. No. I was like, I don't need that full week. I can tell you right now.
Not my thing.
No.
That's awful.
Yeah. They were like, it's because you're not saying the script at the right pace. I was like, I'm pretty sure that's not what it is.
There are other problems.
Yes. But I'm sure there are a million more things we could talk about with jobs, I'm sure. And I'm sure we will in the future.
I'm sure this will come back around.
So what did we learn? We learned 80% confidence.
80% confidence, 20% knowing what you're doing.
Is that different than confidence?
I don't know. Well, hey, man. If you're putting it out there, I don't know. Knowing something? I feel good when I know something.
All right, you got me there.
I think we learned something else, though, because I don't want to just leave it on what we already knew. Didn't we? We learned... that might have been it. Don't always look for jobs on Craigslist. Not...
Sure, don't... Yeah. Boy,
I got nothing.
But what a story you had coming out of that.
Oh, man, that's what I knew walking out of that building. I was like, I've got a story on my hands. I don't have a job or money, but I have a tale to weave. Yeah, I guess that's it. We learned you got to be confident. Wear a tie or don't wear a tie. You can look nice, be casual. Group interviews
nice.
are a nightmare.
Yeah, look nice. Hope you don't have a group interview. Be confident, and sell those qualifications you have.
I don't want to. We can come back around to it later. I don't want to take us off of ending too quickly. But man, that's a whole big thing of it. Like, why can't a group interview? Why can't you just know ahead of time? Like, they're always a surprise to me. Every group interview I've ever had, I didn't know it was going to be one. Yeah,
I think that I might have known about the RA one.
Yeah,
because it was the second interview in the process.
Okay,
so I think they told us.
You.
But the Disney Store one, no idea.
I would have prepared significantly differently.
Yeah, because it really, you're not just selling yourself, you're competing against, you're trying to unsell the other person in the room.
You got to fight.
Yeah.
All right, well, I think we solved that. Is that what we do here?
Yeah. Problem solved.
Problem solved.
No one is ever going to struggle in a job interview again.
Oh, I think we're heroes in that respect.
I think that that's fair, and I don't think we get the credit we deserve. Not enough people refer to us as heroes.
Chris, you got anything going on right now you want to talk about?
I'm going back to my roots. I'm going to be back at some grocery stores. I'm not going to be in them selling products. I'm going to be outside the front there. A lot of people like to buy like dogs from like the box that people will have outside a store.
A lot of people love buying dogs that way.
A lot of people love buying dogs out of boxes. And it got me thinking, like, hey, what about all of the boys and girls in the country who don't have a family? Oh. So I have just put them all in a cardboard box. You get to go outside the adoption system. It's just, if you want this child, you can have him.
You have children?
I have a guy who gets me the children.
Okay, I'm not going to dig too deep into that. That feels like sticky water.
I don't see it that way, but do you have something you'd like to plug?
Yeah, I started, like Dollar Shave Club.
I do know Dollar Shave Club.
You pay $1 and you get like 5 razor blades at a time.
Yeah, if they want to sponsor this podcast, please do not hesitate to reach out.
I've got a bone to pick.
Oh, okay.
Why? They give you 5 razors, but you got to ask for a blade or a handle. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah.
I've never used Dollar Shave Club.
I use Dollar Shave Club. I get 5 blades every month, and I don't get a new handle every month. I got to reuse the same handle. I'm selling my razor handles, so you can, when you get 5 blades, you get 5 handles. And you can buy them at my new website, www.getagripdollarshave.com.
Oh, that domain was available?
It wasn't. It was like $3,000.
Okay, so you're very serious about this.
Yeah, he was very serious about how much that domain was.
Yeah,
but, it's a business in full stride. I took out a loan.
Well, I mean, it seems like 5 handles or whatever a month is more than you would need, but it's clearly something you're passionate about. You've pointed out the flaw in Dollar Shave Club's business model, so for that, I think you're on the right track. You have a lot of people signing up, or is this just the start of the business?
Not a lot of people signing up. Honestly, I feel like you kind of also just poked a hole in my business model.
I don't see it that way.
People don't necessarily need that many handles. All right, I'm going to think about that one. Don't go to that website for a while. It's just going to be a 404 page.
Oh, okay.
I'll figure this out.
Okay, well, goodbye.
Okay, bye.